Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Plant Fanatics. Today I'm going to be showing you how to grow a lemon tree from a seed. Alright guys, let's go over what we're going to need to do this. First of all, we're definitely going to need a lemon, and preferably you're actually going to want to buy a couple lemons because sometimes when you cut the lemons open they're not going to have very many seeds. Sometimes they don't have any seeds at all. That wouldn't be good for what we're doing. So get a couple of lemons. You're going to need a sharp knife, maybe not one, this big, but you will need a knife. You're going to need a Ziploc baggie, and you can write lemon seeds or lemons, and then make sure you put the date on it so that way you know how long it's been since you put the seeds in there, so you know if the seeds are viable or not, because if it takes like a month to do this, then the seeds probably aren't good. And then you're going to just need a damp paper towel. And I'll show you what all of this stuff is for as we go. And a cutting board to cut the lemon. And you don't have to have a spray bottle. I'm just going to use this to make the paper towel a little more damp before I put it in the bag. So, all right, let's get going. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. So first thing that we're going to want to do is just cut the lemon directly in half. And like I said a second ago, you're definitely going to want to get a couple of lemons because some lemons have 0 seeds in them, some have a whole bunch, and they can be the same variety of lemons. So just to play it safe, I would get a couple of fruit. All right, and once you have it cut into fourths like that, the ultimate thing that you want to do is you want to be able to get these seeds out, and you can see them kind of sticking out there. And all you have to do is dig them out, and then that's what it's going to look like. And there's going to be some really skinny seeds in there that, just looks like there's nothing really there. I would just avoid those seeds. I wouldn't even try to germinate them. It's really not worth your time because most likely they're not going to germinate. So just dig out as many of those as you can. And then after you get all the seeds out, there's more in here, but I'm not going to get all of them out for this. So they're going to be kind of slimy right now, and they have this outer coating on there. It might be kind of hard to see on the camera, but once you cut your fruit apart, you'll see what I'm saying. There's kind of an outer coating, and it's going to be really slimy when you first take it out of the fruit. So what I like to do is I like to dry the seed out a little bit, just kind of set it on a counter or on a paper towel somewhere for a couple of hours, and it'll dry out. Otherwise, you're going to be fumbling around with it, and it's just going to take a lot more time than it needs to. So you can kind of be doing something else while those dry out. But anyway, what you're going to want to do is just with your fingernail, kind of pull away at that outer husk, and you're going to want to remove that. And you'll definitely know whenever you're getting it off because it's just going to be a dry seed. It's not going to be slimy anymore or any of that. And it can kind of be annoying while you're doing this, especially if you're doing a bunch of seeds. And you do want to get quite a few seeds because you just really want to make sure that you get good germination rate. And then also once your trees start going, you might find that some of them are growing kind of wonky and maybe aren't super healthy. And you want to just choose the best trees to continue growing. And so anyway, once you get that outer coating off, that's what it's going to look like. And that's exactly how you want it to be. You could keep the coating on and just plop it in some soil, but the germination wouldn't be as fast because you actually want water to break through this seed, to break the dormancy of the seed and allow it to start growing. So taking that outer coat is just going to let water get into the middle of the seed faster. So once you have the seeds, and I've got a couple of other ones that I've already done over here, just dropped one, so now we have two, but that's all we need. Once you have those, there's a couple of ways that you can do this, and I'm going to show you both of them. So I told you that you were going to need a damp paper towel. All you have to do is run that under some water and kind of squeeze it out and then unfold it. And then you're just going to want to fold that into fourths. And then all you have to do is just take your little seed, stick it in there, and if you have a bunch of seeds, what you really should, if you want to make sure and get a good seed, a good tree, just kind of lay them all in here like that. It doesn't matter really how close they are. I guess I would kind of separate them out a little bit in case some fungus starts growing, which is possible because this takes a little bit of time and it's in a moist environment. But just take that seed and all those seeds, if you have a bunch, and then wrap the paper towel on it. And then just make sure it's nice and moist. Not soaking wet, but moist. And then you want to take your bag, what you labeled. You really want to know how long, when you started it and how long it's been since you started those seeds. Because if they're not growing within, I would say 2 to 3 weeks, then they're probably not going to start. But I've had really good success with growing lemon seeds and oranges, anything like that. They grow pretty well. And just kind of stick it in the bag, get that air out of there, and then zip it up. And then just put it in a warm place, anywhere in your house, really. I mean, you could pretty much just set it out anywhere as long as it's not cold. And it should germinate within 2 weeks, I would say. But then I want to show you one other way, and I do it both ways, and it pretty much works the exact same speed, is just have a container of soil, and then just poke a little hole in there. I would say like maybe 1/2 inch, and drop your seed in there, cover it up, and then run that through some water, or just take a spray bottle and just really make sure it gets nice and moist. And then after you do that, it's really just a waiting game. Sometimes I like to take a plastic Ziploc bag and put it over the top of the pot and then wrap a rubber band around it, and that'll just help keep that moisture in there. You won't have to keep an eye on it as much, if at all. But you could do it like this too and just make sure you continue to water it. And then after that, it's just a waiting game. And if you do it in the pot, I like doing it in the pot because there's really not much to check until you see the little growth start coming out, and then you can let it grow in that pot for a good while. With the paper towel method, you're going to want to make sure that this paper towel stays moist. So maybe every couple of days I would take it out and open it up, look at the seeds, see if you have any roots starting to come out. But for sure, make sure that this paper towel stays moist. That's the most important thing that you can do. And then once you see the little roots coming out of the seed, just stick it in a pot of soil just like that, and you're good to go. Just make sure the soil stays moist. And I actually have a couple of trees in different stage growths, and I'll show those to you here really quick. All right, guys, so after you get it in a pot like this, it'll start to grow, and you could keep it in this pot for a pretty good deal of time. So here's an example. After probably just a couple months, it's going to start branching out, and it should look like that. And you may get some wonky looking trees. I would actually just not even mess with those. I would take the healthiest looking trees and continue working with those. And then this is what it's going to look like after a pretty good chunk of time. I would say this tree is probably 2. And usually what I do with my seedlings is graft them, so when they get to a good size, I'll take a variety of citrus that I want and graft it onto the tree. And That's going to be for a whole nother video because that's a whole nother process. So go ahead and start your seedlings and then follow along with me in my other videos as your tree gets old enough. Thank you guys.